welcome to another interesting time with me on News Extra, the program that brings you stories with the extra touch. Tonight will be no less exciting as we open with good news for those legally involved in mining, but bad news, so to say, for those illegally involved in the business. This is coming from no other place than the highest decision-making body in the country. There is also good news in the fight against COVID-19 as government approves funds for more testing equipment. Today is International Youth Day. What does it mean to the youths? Stay with News Extra for an exposition. All these plus interesting human angle stories on justice and the law, flooding and environment, and much more. Tonight is going to be a long haul as usual, so let's get started. After all, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Umar Buba, and this is News Extra. You're welcome. We begin. Far-reaching measures have been taken by a federal government towards repositioning the nation's mining sector in furtherance of efforts at diversifying the economy for sustainable national development. Consequently, the National Security Advisor has been directed to coordinate targeted operations against illegal mining activities nationwide, while states and local governments have been warned to desist from illegal mining taxation. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed made this known while briefing newsmen on resolutions of the Federal Executive Council's meeting. And State House correspondent Adam Sambo has the details.
Diversifying the nation's economy through mining is one of the priority areas of the Buhari administration since coming to power. And on that, a lot has been achieved in the last 5 years, but much more still needs to be done in the greater interest of the country. A memo presented to Council by the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development stressed the urgent need for the government to address the major challenges being faced by the critical economic sector. Some of them include insecurity, illegal mining, collusion among stakeholders, as well as issues relating to double taxation, which drive potential investors out of the country. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed announced some of the measures adopted by the Council after deliberations towards repositioning the industry.
The Council noted that insecurity and illegal mining have led to huge loss of money. The Council directed that the National Security Advisor should set up a special unit domiciled in the FCT, Abuja, to carry out targeted operations at identified and confirmed illegal mining sites nationwide. The Council also directed the National Security Advisor to facilitate the erection of central magazines. These are special, storage facilities across the geopolitical zones of the country for mining purposes. Storage of explosive in the military barracks in some parts of the country is grossly unsafe, and the establishment of a control and command center for remote monitoring of such explosives.
The Council noted with concern that mining companies are being illegally taxed by states and local governments despite the exclusive right of the federal government to mine and manage all mineral resources in the country.
The Council directed the Minister of Finance and National Planning to deduct directly from the federal accounts allocation of states which have deprived the federal government of Nigeria revenue due to it by imposition of illegal taxes and levies on mining companies in their states. The intent is to ensure that we don't scare away investors, they be local or foreign, by double taxation. And I think this will go a long way to reassure the investors that Nigeria is a safe place to invest in mining.
Consequently, the National Economic Council has been given the go-ahead to dialogue with state governors to enable them understand that their states can only participate in mining as corporate bodies, not as subnational authorities. Meanwhile, a moment of silence was observed in honor of two former ministers who died recently. The late General Sam Moma, Minister of Science and Technology under the Abacha administration, and the late Rear Admiral Olufemi Olumide, Minister of Transportation, as well as Works and Housing under the Gawan and Murtala administrations respectively. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
The Federal Executive Council has approved 8.49 billion naira for the procurement of necessary equipment for the testing of coronavirus aimed at controlling and containing community spread of the global pandemic in the country. The Minister of Health, Dr. Osage Ehanire, announced this while briefing newsmen after the meeting of the council presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo again reports that the council also approved a national gender action plan and climate change.
It was the 20th meeting of the Federal Executive Council for the year 2020 and 11th to be held virtually in the new normal. The ravaging coronavirus pandemic, which affected over 580 local government areas of the country, dominated discussions sequel to an NCDC memo submitted by the Minister of Health. A request for 8.49 billion naira from the Special Intervention Fund for COVID-19 being operated by the Presidential Task Force was therefore approved towards expanding its testing and diagnostic capabilities.
So we are procuring testing materials right from sample materials to other kits for diagnostics in our laboratory systems to be able to respond properly to the community transmission phase. We have already made plans to have at least one sample collection site in every local government, minimum of 774, and these resources will be necessary to go around the 774 local government areas to ensure that persons in rural areas or small towns are not excluded, and to ensure that not only the big cities are the ones being attended to.
The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Muhammad, on his part, responded to the recently held political rallies in parts of the country, maintaining government's position that for now, mass gatherings remain prohibited.
We will continue to advise social distancing in whatever gathering. It has been proven that wearing a mask saves many lives, saves you, saves the other people, and we will continue to help people to please take personal responsibility. We are deepening our conversations with the subnationals, with the governors, with the local government chairmen, with everybody, with all stakeholders. Please take personal responsibilities. If anybody says that wearing mask is inconvenient, let him try a ventilator.
The Federal Executive Council also approved a new policy towards mainstreaming gender within the Climate Change Action Plan called the National Gender Action Plan and Climate Change.
Being the ones bearing the most brunt, it means that we take particular interest to make sure that women are involved in climate action activities right from the inception, design, development, implementation, monitoring and evaluation of projects. Also to involve women in positions of decision making to make sure that women are carried along in climate change issues.
The minister enumerated agriculture, forestry, health, water and sanitation, energy, as well as transportation as areas of priority in the Gender Action Plan aimed at reducing gas emissions in Nigeria by 45% before the year 2030.
The Federal Minister of Environment will be the one to drive the implementation, but it's something that involves everybody.
The National Gender Action Plan, Dr. Muhammad Mahmoud explained, is to be funded by, amongst others, proceeds from the Green Bond, support from international donor agencies, as well as special budgetary provisions for ministries, departments and agencies. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
When it comes to being a brother's keeper, Nigerians are second to none. This assertion continues to play out in this coronavirus pandemic era. One of the active participants in this area is the private sector coalition against COVID-19, which has donated to the needy all over the country. This time around, it was 100 trucks of food commodities the coalition sent to Bauchi State. Mohammed reports that the commodities are to be distributed to more than 200,000 households across the 20 local government areas of the state.
Driven by common goal, these private sector investors are determined to provide succor to the less privileged and the most vulnerable Nigerians, especially in the era of COVID-19 pandemic.
The fight for survival has become a necessity, and it is not just the responsibility of the government. It is our collective responsibility, and we all must join the fight to stay alive. COVID, in collaboration with the state governments, has commissioned 38 isolation centers across all the 36 states in Nigeria and the Federal Capital Territory.
Let me sound a word of warning that these items must be handled with utmost care and must be delivered to its intended recipients, that is the vulnerables. I have a third eye on the mode of operation of this distribution.
Apart from the palliative, the private sector coalition against COVID-19 has also equipped the Toro local government general hospital's isolation center with state-of-the-art facilities. In Bauchi, Mahmoud Ibn Muhammad, NTA News.
In another development, there has been quite a show of how schools have reopened for exit classes across the country with strict compliance with COVID-19 guidelines. But what is the situation in rural areas is now the question. And Reverend Sylvanus Lott visited some rural schools in Just, East, South, and brings us this report.
Every Nigerian child has a right to education, and in a bid to exercise this right, these exiting students are making the most of the opportunity they have to prepare for their forthcoming examinations. These are government secondary schools in Just East and Just South, both in rural areas of Plateau State. Lessons are ongoing, safety measures are being observed, but how prepared are the students in these rural areas to bridge the gap already created? As empty as this school looks, exiting students are busy learning in their classes. The question, however, is, will these students cover enough to make them pass the exams? This is because children in rural areas were not exposed to any electronic lessons.
It's actually difficult because quite a number of them have not been able to study at home. So it's like starting afresh for some of them. In SS3, first term and second term, the syllabus are usually covered. Usually our third term is meant for revision. So I think that we'll be able to meet up by God's grace.
Majorly, during the lockdown, we try as much as possible to contact those that were available to encourage them to read at home. That was done regularly, and of course, we have the belief that they will be able to face their exams.
The students on their part, though ready to put in their best, complain of distractions at home.
Now we are back and we'll read, and probably by the grace of God we'll pass our exams.
I think the only thing I have to do now is for me to read hard, to patch up where there has been holes. Parents will always give you work, and you won't get enough time to read and meet up with other students. Yeah.
We went on air too as a Ministry of Education. We taught our students for 1 month. Where TV could not reach, radio was reaching, and they were directed to hook and get the lessons.
This is the second week of revisions for the senior secondary classes in Plateau State. In Jos, Rinred Sylvanus Lott, NTA News.
And from the cold heights of the plateau, let's go to the riverine areas of Akwa Ibom, where we hear rural schools are faring better in safety protocols as exit classes are preparing for examination. Udwak Etim, who has been monitoring compliance by schools, brings us a situation report.
During the first holidays occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic, several online programs were introduced for students in different states of the Federation, including Akwa Ibom State. Students in the rural communities were mostly at the disadvantaged end as they could not access online academic programs. Hence, the reopening of schools for exit classes restored hope, as these children can now enjoy the advantages of classroom learning again.
School resumed. The school provided us with hand sanitizer and liquid wash to wash our hands too, and we also observed social distances right from the beginning of the school.
I want to use this opportunity to thank Onwo Secondary School for all the preventive measures they have put in place to make sure that students are safe.
On the COVID-19 guidelines, it was observed that some schools in the rural communities complied with the safety protocols, while a few others are yet to put things in place for resumption.
We are strictly observe all the necessary guidelines.
The management of the school has thought it wise to set out the COVID-19 team that will manage the situation.
We are trying to revise the past questions with them to ensure that they get familiar with WAEC and NECO questions.
The educationists maintain that precaution is a veritable strategy to forestall the spread of coronavirus, especially among school children. Uduak Etam, NTA News.
Thank you, Uduak. While some Nigerians are focused on not getting infected with COVID-19, others have become comfortable and indifferent about the virus, thereby neglecting preventive guidelines. This worrisome behavior, experts warn, could aggravate community transmission. Hingina John Adams examines the falling level of compliance to preventive measures.
As coronavirus figures increase daily, personal responsibility is key. That is what the Oyalawas are doing. Their lives revolve within the confines of their home since the lockdown began, except for the head of the home, who is an essential worker. His wife admits to venturous outings once in a while to purchase essential items needed to run the home. For the kids, spaces in and around the house are alternatives to a playground, and incidentally, their mother, who is a teacher, homeschools them on a daily basis.
Into your food, it can lead to food poisoning.
Coronavirus has indeed changed life as they know it.
We do watch some of the enlightenment programs that educate about the state of the diseases and the level of its impact.
Unlike the Oyalawas, some people are not bothered about the presence of the virus as they don't protect themselves. No face mask, no social and physical distancing. This action is rife and may not be unconnected with myths like coronavirus does not exist in Nigeria.
People, even when they get this face mask, they're not using it. They hang it.
People complied initially.
People they are not fear of COVID-19.
As campaigns on COVID-19 continue, it is expected that more people will be responsible, just like the Oyalawas. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
And as coronavirus cases surge in Europe, Russia says allegations that its COVID-19 vaccine is unsafe are baseless. Joyce Ometu is here with an update on the pandemic.
Russia's Health Minister Mikhail Murashko said allegations that Russia's COVID-19 vaccine was unsafe were groundless and driven by competition. The country's decision to grant its approval has raised concerns among some experts, and some scientists fear that Russia may be putting national prestige before safety. In Germany, the government has urged citizens to adhere to public health guidelines as the country recorded its highest daily increase in coronavirus cases. After 3 months, Germany's response had been widely seen as successful in slowing the spread of the virus. But the country on Wednesday reported 1,226 new infections. Still in Europe, face masks became compulsory in all public places in Brussels as the number of COVID-19 infections led to a government alert. The city is the worst affected in that region. Turning attention to Asia, Hubei province in China has reported a coronavirus case where the patient tested positive again after recovering. The 68-year-old woman who earlier tested positive on February 8 recovered a few months later, but tested positive again on August 9 and is now under quarantine and treatment. In the meantime, statistics by Worldometer published at 6 p.m. show that cases worldwide have reached 20,620,330, out of which 13,519,612 persons have recovered, while 748,002 deaths are recorded. Africa has 1,069,739 cases, 23,929 deaths, and 762,303 recovered patients. In Nigeria, the Center for Disease Control said out of the 47,290 infected persons, 33,609 have been treated and discharged, while 956 fatalities were recorded. And that's it from here. I am Joyce Ometu.
Global update there. We'll take a short break now. When we return, the youths in focus. Their style, their strength, and their struggles. Stay with us.
I'm done. Really? Yes.
There's an easier way to get more data. Get more out of life with the new Airtel data plans. Dial *141# now. Data is life.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Chief Timmy Silva, the government and people of Bayelsa State
welcome His Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR,
to the visual commissioning of the 17-story Nigerian Content Tower,
1,000-seater capacity auditorium,
4-level car park,
and 10 megawatts gas-fired plant in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State. Date:
Thursday, August 13, 2020. Time:
11:30 a.m. In line with COVID-19 social distancing protocols, attendance is strictly by invitation.
Members of the public can follow the event live on NTA,
TVC,
Channels TV,
Arise TV,
as well as on NCDMB social media platforms.
NCDMB, building local capacities in the Nigerian oil and gas industry.
Signed, Engineer Simbi Kesie Wabote, Executive Secretary, Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB.
Small doesn't mean it can't be huge. Waking up each morning to feed your neighborhood during a pandemic is no small thing. The world might call them small retailers, but we think of them as giant. And by supporting them, you can be one too. So keep going to Ahmed, to Linda, and to Samuel, because they're the closest thing to visiting family when you have to go shopping. Because individually, we're all small, but together, we are giants.
The Nigerian Air Force is recruiting suitably qualified candidates as threats and non-threats men and women for the year 2020. All interested applicants must be Nigerian citizens by birth. Applicants must be medically and physically fit and must not have any criminal conviction by a court of law. Online registration starts 24th July and closes 21st August 2020, while Selection Board interview exercise will hold from 24th September to 12th November 2020. For more information, call 090-644-32351 or 090-5584-0142, Monday to Friday, between 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. or visit the website www.airforce.mil.ng. All recruitment processes are free of charge. Announcer, the Air Secretary, Air Vice Marshal Mahmoud El Haji Ahmed, Nigerian Air Force, willing, able, ready.
He's a very tough guy who knocks out every opponent. But now he's been knocked down by malaria.
Amatem Soft Gel.
Amatem Soft Gel makes treating malaria easy. Amatem Soft Gel is a game changer. The opponent is down! Amatem Soft Gel, a good talk about malaria for body. Available for adults and children. Say no to malaria. Yes to life.
Love is such a beautiful thing. But what happens when love hits the rock?
Please, leave me alone.
When things turn sour.
Tell me the truth.
But this was for you, babe. Really? Yes.
And you fear the damage cannot be fixed.
But I don't want to lose my wife.
No, keep it there.
When relationships are in desperate need to be mended, that's where we come in.
His Excellency, Senator Doye Diri, the Executive Governor of Bayelsa State, on behalf of the government and hospitable people, warmly welcomes His Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, President and Commander-in-Chief, Federal Republic of Nigeria, to the virtual inauguration ceremony of the 17-story headquarters building of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board and the 10 megawatts gas-fired independent power plant at Elebele. We also heartily welcome our son, Chief Timipri Silva, Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Malam Melekari, the Group Managing Director of NNPC, and all invited guests to this landmark event. This marks another milestone in our efforts at ensuring an effective and excellent collaboration between our two tiers of government for the socio-economic advancement of the people of our country. We wish you, Mr. President, and your entourage a happy, memorable, and successful commissioning ceremony in the glory of all lands. Noah, Aloha, Do.
Good to have you back. Everybody agrees that youths are the future of a family, community, or a country. And true to this assertion, participants on NTA's Tuesday Live say sustainable culture of promoting youth agenda remains the hallmark of the federal government since 2015, with billions of naira expended to drive an all-inclusive system that puts youth at a vantage position. And Abakar Usman Akwanga has the report.
Is said to be the bedrock of every society. This explains the paradigm shift from empowerment to investment in youth through several social viable investment windows initiated by the federal government. More than 60% of Nigeria's population is made up of youth, constituting an integral part of the formal and informal sectors, pulling resources together for national development.
The NYIF will consider comprehensive leadership skills development that will help young people become problem solvers, not just learning skills for self-sustainability.
Setting up this fund, it's a 75 billion naira fund over the next 3 years. It's a huge thing. It's like a youth bank where we know that government is prioritizing our needs.
Guests say the 70 billion naira youth investment fund approved by President Muhammadu Buhari for youth engagement at several economic levels should be monitored and assessed for continuity and progress.
For the Nigerian youth, the young people in Nigeria, is that connectivity, that bridge that takes them from where they are to the fulfillment of their destinies.
We have a lot of young people who have talent, who have a lot to display, to make them employers of labor, to get them more busy. But the challenge that we have so far is lack of funding.
The Nigerian youth are very, very ready to take up this responsibility.
On their part, the youth say, apart from the financial support, other platforms should be expanded with priority in leadership responsibility and decision-making process.
Sustaining debate for the inclusion of youth in the mainstream of governance formed major position of guests, while mentorship to steer the ship of succession cycle takes center stage in aspiring for a greater tomorrow. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
In the meantime, contributions by youths to nation building globally, no doubt, have been affected by coronavirus. To support the youths overcome this challenge, Action Aid Nigeria and partners are urging government at all levels and stakeholders to re-engineer the production and extractive industry towards post-COVID-19 re-engagement. This was at a symposium in Abuja to mark the 2020 International Youth Day. Kenneth Nanim has the report.
Sequel to this year's theme, attention is being focused on challenges faced by youths in the COVID-19 era and how meaningfully their creative energy, skills and intellectual prowess could be harnessed for nation building. Inside this hall, voices are getting stronger and louder, calling on Nigerian youths to stand tall in the midst of challenges and take their pride of place in governance, demand accountability on public funds expenditure and infrastructural development, starting from the local communities.
The youths are interested, it's just that they don't have access, and that's where inclusion comes in now. Once you have not been part of any decision making, I don't think there is going to be an interest in the implementation.
Policymakers are also being urged to create opportunities for the youths to explore and be part of COVID-19 economic recovery plans.
Before oil, we had the agriculture, was the mainstay of Nigeria. They need to pay it attention. The youth who are ready to go in that way, their skills should be developed, machineries be given to them, equipment and also, funds be given to them.
The Action Aid Nigeria is also using the day to raise more awareness on the need for the youth to get more involved, get interested in governance, follow up government policies and implementation of programs, especially the budget process of Nigeria. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
The process of redirecting focus of youth away from crime to productive endeavors requires more advocacy. A youth-centered group, Make Nigeria Better initiative, is working with the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development to promote positive change among Nigerian youths. And Olabode Arewa reports that the program is part of activities to mark the 2020 International Youth Day with the theme, Youth Engagement for Global Action.
Kolawole Johnson and Blessing Chisholm are undergraduates who are seeing young people around them engage in common vices like advanced fee fraud, kidnapping, and drugs. An experience they described as not palatable.
No youth should take unemployment as an excuse to go into crime. We can do so many things for ourselves.
We the youth are ready to work. We are ready to do any noble job that will be given to us. We have the strength, we have the capacity.
The group is using this year's International Youth Day to echo the need for youth to be gainfully engaged. They implore their contemporaries to join hands with government in the task of building a new Nigeria.
Young people here at the Unity Fountain in Abuja are calling on the government at all levels to ensure that they create a more enabling environment to ensure that young people achieve their dreams in Abuja. Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
Thank you so much, Olabode. And we have someone tonight in the house to talk more on the International Youth Day, year 2020, and she is no other but a youth parliamentarian, Toru Nana Mary Mesindo from Abigail Central. Well, it's good to have you at News Extra tonight.
Thank you.
It's a special day for us, the youths.
Right,
okay. You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
So can you tell us, what is the significance, of a day like this, most especially in this year, talking about, the 2020 and COVID-19?
Okay, well, the International Youth Day was declared to celebrate youths, youths who have excelled, youths who have not excelled, to celebrate youths in general. And this year, it's very much important because despite everything we've gone through, despite everything youths have been through, a lot of youths have lost their jobs, lost what they do, what they feed on. And despite everything, we're still there, we're still strong. So this year is actually very important for us. It's actually a time where we have to realize that despite everything, we have ourselves. We're youth. We still have time, and we'll still conquer this whole thing. So we have to celebrate ourselves. That's why this year, despite the whole COVID thing, is very important. This one is very important for us.
Okay, it's very special to us.
Very special.
Okay, we have seen the dexterity, of our youths in sectors like the ICT, sports, innovations, the science, technology, creative, arts, and all of that. How can their potentials be better harnessed?
Okay, the potentials are being harnessed, but it's not as much as it should be. So there are ways I feel that the potentials can be better harnessed. One is sustainable skill acquisitions. I say sustainable because it's not about just giving someone a skill. It has to be sustained to an extent. One way is, okay, you train me on something. The best you can do for me, if I am not able to afford to carry it out myself, give me a place. I don't have to pay for it.
Okay.
But then maybe eventually I'll pay for it. Give me a place with the equipment needed, and let me do what I have to do. That's what's happening in the Edo job. There's something of that sort in Edo State. And I think youths are really, really, really taking advantage of it, and youths are really making waves there. It's something that we have to do. We have to do it in all the states. We need to, these skill acquisitions need to be sustainable, so we don't just get the skills. Too many persons have skills that they're not able to use because they cannot afford probably equipment or anything. So we need to, and then particularly in the ICT, the world is going global. We really, 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 really have to catch up somehow. Okay. Yes. So if it has to be that, okay, you train people on ICT, you train them. It's not about just pressing the computer. It's about at least being able to program, being able to do stuff like that. And so we need more to be done on that. People need to be trained further. If they have to be sent abroad, and not just sent abroad and leave them hanging. Like, I know some persons that were trained on maritime law and the rest, and when they came back hanging because they really don't know what they would do with what they have learned. So we really need to do more to ensure that those that have been trained they get to put to use what they have been trained on.
Okay, today is a special day, like I said, for us.
Yeah.
We're celebrating the International Youth Day. That is why actually you're here. So what message do you have as a youth parliamentarian to youths out there in Nigeria?
Okay, I would say as youths, we need to do more. We cannot always wait for the government to give us everything. No. I know times are difficult and we don't always have the resources, but somehow push, make a move. Somehow someone will notice you. On Twitter recently, I saw someone that was always posting on the Minister for Youth posts and all of that.
Okay.
So at some point he noticed the person and said, okay, the person should come see him.
So we should just keep pushing.
Keep pushing, and definitely you will get there.
All right, thank you so much, Mary Cherunana, for coming on News Extra.
Thank you for having me.
Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you.
All right, a Northeast Development Commission has earmarked 6 billion naira educational endowment fund, where over 10,000 people across the Northeast region are expected to benefit. Managing Director, Special Intervention on Education of the Commission, Mohammed Goni Al-Ali, disclosed this when officials of Northeast civil societies organizations called on him in his office in Maiduguri. And Maimuna Garba has the report.
Lack of education have been identified as some of the root causes of insurgency in the region, hence the resolve by Northeast Development Commission to address such issues with a view to assisting in the restoration of lasting peace to the region. To this end, people of the Northeast will benefit immensely from the Commission's education intervention. The Education Fund is expected to cover trainings on ICT skills, bachelor's, master's and doctorate degrees, scholarship, as well as special support to 5,000 vulnerable persons whose education was truncated by Boko Haram crisis and youth engaged in sports.
These projects will suit the Commission. We have agreed that any project is done in local government was done by the local people there.
The Managing Director, while acknowledging common interests of the Commission and the civil societies organizations in assisting people of the zone, further disclosed that the rapid response intervention projects have been conceived. The project, which is also expected to be undertaken at a minimum of 2 projects in each of the 112 local government areas within the Northeast, has a maximum funding of 50 million naira per local government area, focusing on education, health, agriculture, and social infrastructure. Coalition of civil societies organizations from the Northeast, led by its zonal chairman, Ambassador Ahmed Shehu, alongside other members in their separate submissions, commended effort of the Commission so far and appealed for a strong partnership between the civil societies and the Commission. They equally appealed for inclusion of CSOs in membership of committees. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
And from Maiduguri, we take you to Kaduna, where the Kaduna State Police Command has arraigned before the Magistrate Court one Adejo Nehemiah, driver of the SUV who allegedly hit the late first female pilot flying officer, Temitokwe Arutile, to death at the Air Force Base, Kaduna. Achari Maxwell reports that the suspect has been granted bail in the sum of 1 million naira.
Adejo Nehemiah was brought before Chief Magistrate Emmanuel Benjamin on a 4-count charge: driving without driver's license, driving without care and attention, driving without the authorization of the owner of the vehicle, and dangerous driving, allegedly causing the death of late Arotile, contrary to Section 21, 23, and 28 of the Kaduna State Road Traffic Law 2017.
We are investigating 2 aspects. One, the criminal conspiracy and culpable homicide, of which investigation to that direction is ongoing. And secondly is the traffic aspect of the offense, of which we are done with investigation. And today we've arraigned the suspect involved.
Defense counsel Ali Ibrahim Omache pleaded for bail of his client.
He was arraigned on an FIR containing the allegations against him, which he denied. Meanwhile, the court has admitted him to bail on our application. So bail was granted.
The matter has been adjourned to 26th of this month for hearing. In Kaduna, Achari Maxwell, NTA News.
In the meantime, the EFCC has taken over investigation of a case involving 2 Lebanese suspects arrested by the Nigerian Customs Service for attempted smuggling of $870,000 out of Nigeria. The suspects were arrested at the Port Harcourt International Airport, and Kingsley Amajiri reports.
Provision of the Money Laundering Prohibition Act, transportation of cash or negotiable instruments in excess of $10,000 or its equivalent in and out of the country is expected to be declared to the Nigerian Customs Service.
The 2 Lebanese who were intercepted at the Port Harcourt International Airport were arrested because they failed to disclose the cash in foreign currency amounting to $870,000, which contravenes the relevant sections of the laws of the country.
The failure of these 2 Lebanese, Diana Khalil and Shamsuddin Mohammed, to comply with this section of the law prompted the Nigerian Customs Service to arrest them after a thorough search of their luggage revealed the amount in their possession.
Mr. Jihad have accepted the writing that he is the owner of $670,000, while Shamsuddin Mohammed have accepted in writing that he is the owner of $220,000.
And if found culpable, according to the EFCC, they will face the law.
We are assuring you of our maximum cooperation and collaboration in fighting this financial and economic crime.
In the meantime, the $870,000 seized from the 2 Lebanese has been deposited into the Central Bank of Nigeria while the investigation lasts. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
In the next segment of the news, stories of some situations that pull the heartstrings, plus the warnings of flood. You either flee or swim. Don't go away.
Hello, madam. Would you like to join us on this mission?
Yes, but how?
Just one question for you. How do you keep your toilet clean?
I use regular detergent and bleach for washing and removing yellow stains. I have been
been using it for years.
Oh, madam, the regular detergents and bleach are used for washing clothes.
To disinfect your toilet properly, you need Harpic 10X. It is specially made for germs and stains remover. Harpic sticker formula settles on stains and gives 10 times better cleaning compared to regular detergent and bleach. Wow! Now I'm convinced, Helen Paul.
Really?
Yeah!
Now that she's part of the mission, the next house is yours.
Like every mother, I'm worried about dangerous insects, especially mosquitoes, which spread diseases like malaria to my loved ones. This year, I'm not afraid. I'm using New Mortein Insta-Kill. New Mortein Insta-Kill's improved formulation knocks down mosquitoes 2 times faster. Not even a single mosquito is spared because even one mosquito bite can cause malaria. Mortein Insta knocks down mosquitoes 2 times faster.
Just getting the ball and a shot call for there. Oh! You need to recharge your DSTV or GoTV subscription easily, but our office dey fast small. You fit use our app to recharge or fix errors. No wahala. Or if you like one-on-one service, our Sabi Men agents full grand. Them be certified field service agents wey fit help you with any gbege. Sabi Men dey for you. If you want recharge your subscription and sharply activate your account, dem fit help you resolve any technical challenge or customer inquiry. How you go take know them? Now with them Sabi Man jacket, branded face cap and backseat box machine with them hold. Now so you go sabi our Sabi Men for your area. So whether na my DSTV app, my GoTV app or Sabi Men wey dey your area, make sure say you continue to enjoy world-class quality entertainment anytime at your convenience. We dey your side.
How did I get here? It all started shortly after I graduated from MSTC, the Model Skills Training Center with a certificate in ICT. I successfully developed a data management program that has been called the software of the future. Thanks to its success, everyone wants it, and as you can see, now everyone wants me. But I'm not alone. The skills training programs at MSTC are equipping young Nigerians to become the next big success story. Whether it's ICT, mechatronics, facility technology, electronics and computer networking, or culinary studies, a certificate at MSTC is the way of the future. And just like me, there he is. Everyone will want you to.
ITF, developing the nation's human resource.
Thanks for staying with us on News Extra. The proliferation of online pharmacy prescription services is seen as a pointer to another dilemma that seems set to become more prevalent. The disturbing trend is such that the World Health Organization has allotted its member states on the need to tighten control on the sale of pharmaceuticals and other medical products through the internet. Wants to know about the Nigerian situation? Here is health correspondent Rabi Abdullah.
As regulated products, ethical issues in access to medicines is considered very critical.
If I'm sick, I go to a certified physician, go to the hospital, and the doctor will prescribe drugs for you, and you go to the pharmacy and get it.
Let me say that dispensing, offering for sale of pharmaceutical products done within a pharmaceutical premises. This is a peculiarity of the pharmaceutical business. They must be conducted within the premises which has been inspected, approved, and licensed by the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria. Secondly, the products must be registered by NAFDAC.
Available evidence, however, shows that the number of online stores offering medicines for sale to the public over time has increased, with many of the stores ready to deliver their drugs to buyers in their homes.
I've come across it online. They tell you buy food supplement, buy these drugs for this, buy this drug for that. It cures this. Some will even tell you go as much as far as you buying a drug that cures 10 different ailments. I'm of the opinion that the government should see how they can wage into it to stop such. Buying drugs on the internet is not a good one.
This pharmacist oversees a registered pharmaceutical premise, but his view is a bit tilted toward the other side.
Because of the pandemic, patients cannot see the doctors, so how can they get these drugs? It's a big question. So if they can do more of online prescriptions of drug, it's going to go a long way.
But the council frowns at it.
If they can look into the matter and see ways of establishing these online prescriptions, it's going to go a long way, especially for the benefit of the patients.
There is no law that guides online marketing of products. Yeah. What we have is violation as regards the drug itself, which they sell online.
There are, however, indications that the narrative is about to change.
We have actually written to the Minister for Communication and Digital Economy in order to get the assistance of the various parastatals under that ministry in terms of computerization, so that this thing will be reduced to the barest minimum.
In the field of pharmacy, quality control and quality assurance are considered vital to the development, manufacturing and use of drugs meant to help save lives. In Abuja, Rabi Abdullah, NTA News.
And from health, we'll take you to security. The Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole has destroyed a Boko Haram terrorist logistics storage facility and neutralized many of their fighters at Yamud along the Gulumbagana-Kumshe axis of Borno State. Defense Media Operations says the operation was executed on the 11th of August, responding to intelligence reports indicating that the settlement was one of the locations where the terrorists store their logistics, assemble and launch attacks. Detailed surveillance reports also established the presence of a significant number of terrorists within the settlement. Accordingly, the Air Task Force details its fighter jets to attack the location, scoring accurate hits leading to the destruction of designated target structures as well as the neutralization of some of the terrorists. Life has dealt a hard blow to an 80-year-old widow, hindering her homeless in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. A fire outbreak razed her 12-bedroom apartment and other property left her by her late husband. Uwem Edimos Samson reports.
Which started about 8 o'clock in the evening, destroyed 12 rooms apartment as well as properties worth millions of naira. According to an eyewitness, the fire outbreak is as a result of electrical fault and carelessness on the part of other tenants.
We were all here trying to rescue this place, but we couldn't. The fire service came and the whole thing wrecked down.
NTA News understand that before the arrival of the fire service at the venue of the incident, the house has already burnt despite efforts by the firefighters to rescue the situation. However, they were able to prevent the inferno from spreading to the neighborhood. In Uyo, Uwemedi Moa Samson, NTA News.
Rumokoro is a popular junction in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. It is home to many petty traders and taxi drivers who depend on daily income to survive. Rabbi Sanjay Taide examines life in Rumokoro Junction amid COVID-19.
Rumokoro Junction, located along the East-West Road, is the most populated junction and perhaps the noisiest area in Port Harcourt due to the high concentration of petty traders. The junction also has one of the biggest motor parks with various shapes and sizes of vehicles which convey passengers within and outside the state. The presence of a lot of cabs which facilitate intra-city movement is a common sight. The uniqueness of Rumokoro Junction is in the economic activities around the area. many youths in Port Harcourt engage in trading, driving, and provision of other services to earn a living at the Rumokoro Junction. Economic activities still boom from morning to night at the junction, even with the call for COVID-19 protocols of social distancing.
I'm giving them a sweet mouth so that my customers can be able to come and laugh and buy. That is why I'm giving them a sweet mouth. Obi fire down. I don't have a car. Nowhere like Rumokoro as it's like this so, as you see and so, as the horse so. If you visit Port Harcourt, if you have not come to Rumokoro, you have not come anywhere. You have not seen Port Harcourt. So the Port Harcourt we are talking about is from Rumokoro. Many people are hustling out here to earn a living. Markets are not open yet, and we can't fold our hands.
The ongoing construction of a flyover bridge by the state government, commuters say, will not only reduce traffic, but will add aesthetics to the junction.
Rumokoro require a very big market that will contain all these people that stay in the main road to sell.
If this is your first time of coming into Port Harcourt, you need to visit Rumokoro. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Deratede, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Iwachang in Akwa Ibom State is a riverine community playing host to big businesses and entrepreneurs from across the globe. Naturally, one would expect a sprawling community with all the good things of life. Ifoma AUG visited the community with high expectation, which took a tumble in the face of the stark realities.
In even a local government area of Akwa Ibom State, basically of Obolo, Oron and Efok origin, the people, like other members of the area, speak Ibno language and enjoy a very active aquatic life. Being a part of the oil-rich Ibno local government area of Akwa Ibom State, anyone would expect that this place should exude such beauty and serenity. But a visit to the village only brought to mind the story of the hen that laid the golden egg, yet suffered greatly.
Of the fishermen, majority of them do not have enough fishing equipment. Oil is also one of those things that, in fact, destroy the fish, which we're supposed to have. That is why the life here is very, very miserable.
Members of the Wuchang fishing community face a number of challenges, especially lack of basic social amenities and unsafe environment occasioned by poor hygiene practices like open defecation.
In the whole of this community, we don't have toilets. All the community are toileting here in the beach. Even where I'm living now, if anybody wants to toilet in front of me. We don't have water. We don't have electricity.
Should their expectations be met and basic social amenities provided to boost socio-economic activities and harness the rich natural endowment of the area, Iwuchang may just find its way to the world map, especially as the people are hardworking and willing to explore.
We'll go to fish. Our arbor engines got soaked in, boat capsized, a lot of things gone, people will die. But so we are still appealing to government, if they can and God like create a channel for us, that it will be like this one, we won't have much waves when we go for fishing, then it will be okay.
If Iwuchang community is properly developed, the teeming youth will be gainfully engaged and they will contribute meaningfully to the growth of the local government, the state, and of course the nation. In even a local government area, Ifoma AUG, NTA News.
Well, thank you, Fama, and we apologize for the windy noise, from the mic in some parts of that report. Now, let's move to Ogun State, where there is a better story to tell. For decades, the people of Ogbe community of Owu Kingdom in Abeokuta lacked access to safe and readily available water at home. But now we hear fortune has smiled on them as the federal government, through the Ogun-Osun River Basin Development Authority, recently drilled a 12-panel solar-powered borehole to the community as part of efforts to encourage hand-washing practices and promotion of healthy living against vulnerability to COVID-19 scourge. Ayla Balogun completes the story.
Safe and readily available water is important, especially for public health. It has been established that improved water supply and better management of water resources can boost economic growth and also contribute greatly to poverty reduction. Now, Imagine the untold hardship residents of Ogbe community in Ogun State had gone through for decades without water, until recently when fortune smiled on them courtesy federal government through the Ogun Ocean River Basin Development Authority.
For sustenance, for more blessings, and for more projects to come the way of NTA.
Ocean River has done a very great project in our environment, and we are glad.
It's really going to be of help, especially in dry season. The environment is lack of water, and we all know the importance of water at home and everywhere.
Located at the premises of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA Abigail, the project is part of federal government's efforts towards providing access to clean water by 2030 through the Water Hygiene and Sanitation WASH program and the Open Defecation Eradication by 2025 nationwide.
In order to ensure sanitary exigencies and proper hygiene practices and the need for the environment to curb vulnerable exposure to the threats of the COVID-19 scourge in Nigeria Ogun State.
This water project no doubt will enhance regular hand washing practices as well as promotion of healthy living standard. This borehole, the federal government promises, will be replicated in vulnerable communities and isolation centers so as to eradicate vulnerability to COVID-19 scourge in Nigeria. In Abeokuta, Ayinla Balogun, NTA News.
The incessant loss of lives and property due to flooding experienced will soon be history as the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, and relevant stakeholders are pooling resources together to tackle the menace. This was announced during a door-to-door sensitization program on the prevention, management and mitigation of flood in high-risk flood-prone areas of Lagos State, held at Arewa community in Mushin local government. Leon Leneke reports.
As in the last few months experienced flood disasters that have resulted in many deaths and destruction of property. This is not unrelated to earlier warnings from the seasonal rainfall prediction by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, that some parts of the country will experience high volume of rainfall. This informed the impact assessment by the National Emergency Management Agency that identified some communities in Lagos State as probable flood areas. These include Ikorodu, Ibejuleki, Lagos Mainland, and Mushin. Harisu Yusuf and Ayodeji Adebayo reside in Idiaraba, one of the areas identified as flood-prone.
Like this market now, you get some people, you go see them by night, they will carry dirty. They will car, they come here.
As you see all these new noise like this, when they start now, water used to enter them. Yes, water used to enter them well.
This canal you are seeing links up to Apapa down to the beach, where it's supposed to be its final destination. But along the road, there are some parts that are blocked, so the channels do not reach, and then you have it ending up here.
This exercise by NEMA is to create awareness on effective preventive measures.
We are going to liaise with LOMA, Lagos State Waste Management Agency. LASEMA is fully involved on how to evacuate and clean up these refuse.
The agency warned residents to desist from dumping of refuse in drainage channels, as such attitudes contribute in the challenge of flooding. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
Similarly, the FCT Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, is intensifying efforts on aggressive awareness and sensitization of the imminent dangers of flooding to prone areas, especially in rural communities. In view of this, the sensitization campaign has commenced in earnest in some communities in the FCT. Ilyasu Onotu Yakubu brings us details.
6 lives have been lost already to flood disaster in the Federal Capital Territory this rainy season. Majority of them are people sheltered along water channels and flood plains. It is barely halfway into the rainy season for the year 2020, and going by Hydrological Services predictions, the nation's capital may have to prepare for further challenges. However, FEMA says its sensitization drive will assume different dimensions to reach out to the people in view of the COVID-19 protocols.
So we are pleading with the residents of FCT. Don't undermine, don't underrate the power of water. Once that a pool of water is gathered together, especially when it is moving, when it is flowing, please don't insist on going through that road. Hold on, allow the water level to come down, or you go back and take another route.
Like musical numbers that have been put on auto playback, the messages from these disaster managers on flood is for the people to take heed from reminders from the years past on the damages flood has caused and can still cause. Pegby and Lokogoma are major highlights in the NIMET and Hydrological Services flood predictions for the FCT this rainy season. And so, the mission for the team, therefore, is to appeal to the various leaders to get their town criers across the villages to help disseminate the messages.
We use the town crier to go around the community because they know where some of the people that are there, they cannot communicate, they cannot speak English. They will use different language, the way we are mixed up.
The flooding, there's many life has gone in this river for Lokogoma village here. So we really appreciate the FEMA as they give us awareness.
As part of strategies to ensure that the messages remains with the people, billboards and signages were being erected at strategic places at the prone areas to re-echo the dangers of flood. Iliasu Onotu Yakubu, NTA News.
Now, remember Sambisa Forest in Borno State, where Boko Haram had a field day operating from there until the military finally degraded them. That insurgents and bandits like operating from forest areas for obvious reasons is not in doubt. That is what protecting national parks from bandits is the focus of a tripartite meeting of the Ministers of Environment, Interior and Agriculture. Onenge Fine Faiths reports on this and the request of Gombe State Governor for federal government support to mitigate erosion ravaging his state.
7 national parks and several game reserves in Nigeria are natural flora and fauna preserved to sustain biological diversity and ecosystem balance. Although considered inadequate, local militia comprising bandits and cattle rustlers continues to impugn on the safety of national parks. Ministers of Environment, Interior and Agriculture are having conversations on how best to improve security of national parks and game reserves across the country.
Various illegal activities of militia in and around the national parks and other categories of protected areas has necessitated the need to strengthen the service with trained and equipped personnel to protect and safeguard the national parks and its natural resources.
As the Ministry of Agriculture, we are interrelated with this problem on so many fronts, even in providing security, the development of livestock within the parks,
empowering the wildlife and park rangers, as well as stimulating collaboration between all security agencies in that regard. We go a long way in safeguarding our security in Nigeria.
Similarly, the Minister of Environment played host to the Governor of Gombe State, Mohammed Inuwa Yahaya. The Governor is requesting support of the federal government to tackle gully erosion, desertification and other environmental challenges confronting Gombe.
Gully erosion and desertification, it has made us to be very vulnerable and very exposed to the vagaries of weather and climate change.
Gombe State currently has a special program to plant 4 million trees in 4 years to mitigate its environmental concerns. In Abuja, Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
You're still watching News Extra, and still to come, Operation Scorpion 2 stings erring drivers. We'll be right back. Please stay.
On all our social media platforms, Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online, or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
She cries. She cries in anguish and in pain. She bears the scourge of her grief. She toils in vain for justice and succumbs to silence. He gloats over his malady. Like a beast, he pounces with no remorse. Her cry means nothing. Her pain feeds her shame. Like an orphan, she's left to grieve in solitude. But no more will she cry in vain. Her adversaries will henceforth bear the brunt of their cruelty. Rape is evil. Rape is a plague, a pandemic of monumental consequences. We must unite and kick it out of our society.
Connect with NTA and stand against rape and rapists. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Great to have you back. The Niger State Governor, Abubakar Sani Bello, has commended the Nigerian Army for smoking out criminals from the northwest and parts of north central with the aid of the ongoing exercise Sahel Sanity. Governor Sani Bello was speaking to journalists at the Nigerian Army Super Camp in Faskari. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has the details.
Katsina State, the hub of exercise Sahel Sanity. The once small quiet town has become busy, hosting governors of states in the northwest and north central regions of the country, the primary areas of the ongoing internal security operation by the Nigerian Army. This time, governors of Niger and Kaduna are in the super camp to appraise the operation that targets bandits and kidnappers.
We can see already that farming activities are resumed in most of the communities. That has always been an issue. We have always been concerned with regards to the economic activities in the rural areas.
As this exercise continues, along with other operations, we hope to see better and improved security in our region. It has improved compared to what it used to be a few months ago, but there is still work to be done.
Governor Abubakar Sani Bello commends the planned expansion of the military operation and promised adequate support.
Most of the forest areas are connected to our states, and most of the forest areas are between the boundaries of various states. And I believe once these locations are manned fully, it would definitely go a long way towards improving security. I also would like to thank Mr. President for this initiative.
To further enhance the success of exercise Sahel Sanity that has transformed to real-time military operation, more men and platform will soon be injected. From the Nigerian Army Super Camp in Faskari, Katsina State, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
94 Nigerians stranded in Lebanon have arrived to the country through the international wing of the Murtala Mohammed Airport, Lagos. Some of them were among the trafficked Nigerian girls who cried for assistance to be returned to the country in a viral video.
Every week we used to go to the mountain to walk. So whenever I tell them I'm sick, she had to shout on me and tell me I'm a liar. Then I tell her I want to go back to my country. Then she threw me in the embassy. I used 3 months, Nigerian embassy in Lebanon. So I'm very, very grateful because they provide the accommodation for me for good 3 months for the processing. So they collect my passport and something like that. I'm so much appreciative to them.
Receiving the returnees, Chairman Nigerians in Diaspora Commission Abigail Arewa appealed to Nigerian youth to desist from irregular migration.
Now, Lebanon has stopped issuing work visas. So by the time this repatriation is done with, we hope that we're not going to have more girls crying on the streets and saying, save us. The government of President Buhari has done enough to bring them back.
We say we do was a popular call to action slang in the Federal Road Safety Corps a few years ago. I guess the spirit of we say we do is still there, as the Corps arrested 129 drivers of unlatched trucks and prosecuted 40 of them within 3 days of the commencement of Operation Scorpion 2. FRSC Court Marshal Buba at a media briefing in Abuja says it is now time to bark and bite. Oyeyemi Ajayi has the details.
It's called Operation Scorpion 2, and 129 errand drivers have been stung in just 3 days of the operation, with 40 of them prosecuted. The FRSC had to fight the stubbornness of drivers with its own venom, with the increased cases of container-laden trucks being upended and dumped on Nigerian roads by careless truck drivers, causing untold dangers to other road users. One of such is the incident that happened at Ilasamaja beneath the bridge along Oshodi-Apapa Expressway, when a 20-foot container fell on a stationed commercial bus, killing 2 and injuring others. After a series of meetings between the Corps and the Nigerian Ports Authority, Memorandum of Understanding was signed in May last year to ensure that all container-laden trucks are properly latched before exiting the port, a decision the NPA has ensured since then. However, it was discovered that most truck containers get unlatched after leaving the ports.
We have a mobile port at Lagos end of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. We have a mobile port at Ogere, and also have another mobile port sitting at Ibadan end of the expressway. I think the synergy between FRS and the state government is really appreciated. We must draw a line in respect of these falling down containers, broken down articulated vehicles, worn-out tires, frequent lawlessness on the highway. I think we need to be responsive to what the Nigerians really want, to sanity on our roads. If the minimum safety standard is not complied with, I think it behoves on us to check the owner of the cargoes to be punished along the line.
FRC says it has mounted eagle-eyed surveillance to detect errant drivers, and for the recalcitrant ones, the scorpion is set to sting again and again. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
In view of the present realities of the coronavirus pandemic, the 2020 National Festival of Arts and Culture, scheduled to hold in Jos, the Plateau State capital, in October, has been moved to a later date to be agreed upon with the host governor, Simon Lalong. Gufan Shaji reports that this was announced at a stakeholders' virtual technical meeting held at the National Council for Arts and Culture headquarters in Abuja.
The National Festival of Arts and Culture NAFEST is an annual event aimed at deepening national unity and showcasing Nigeria's rich cultural heritage. The 33rd edition is slated to hold in Jos, the Plateau State capital, and stakeholders from the arts and culture sector drawn from the 36 states and the FCT are present at this webinar to discuss modalities of staging NAFEST in line with COVID-19 protocols. However, there were concerns about the hosting of the fiesta this October as earlier scheduled. Commissioner for Tourism, Culture and Hospitality, Plateau State, Tamwakat Welly, indicated the state's readiness to play host to participating states sometime in December.
In view of the reality, we are constrained to adjust the time to December. This is to enable us to perfect all logistic arrangements while observing developments in respect of the fight for the eradication of the COVID-19 pandemic.
The stakeholders, however, appealed to the Plateau State government to host the festival in November to allow for more participation.
So it's important that we agree on a date before December.
In the spirit of the COVID-19 protocol, some events, particularly traditional wrestling, will be replaced. That's why we're introducing the drive-in theater, so that we don't have to crowd ourselves.
The DG also said that NAFEST is not only possible in an era of the pandemic, but the festival can be made even more unique and entertaining while observing all the COVID-19 guidelines. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji, NTA News.
Proper domestication and implementation of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act and Child Rights Act in Nigeria depends on the pragmatic approach and coordination of programs by the supervising ministry. This is an observation by the House Committee on Women Affairs during an oversight on the activities of the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
Women Anthem on Equality, Development and Peace marked the beginning of the oversight on the 2017 to 2020 budget's expenditure by the ministry. It is with a view to ascertaining the success of programs towards safeguarding the integrity of women, promotion of maternal health, and implementation of the Child Rights Act.
We must work in order to achieve the desired mandate that is expected of us.
Committee members required a report on the utilization of funds for a workshop in partnership with the National and State Assemblies, total cost of the headquarters building, and modalities put in place to achieve the 500 million Naira African First Ladies Peace Mission project.
We are here today to articulate and fine-tune a better strategy on how to prioritize gender-based budgeting.
The oversight rounded up in a closed-door session for more clarification on the 4-year Appropriation Act. In Abuja, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
In the concluding segment of the news, we have a special on Nigeria's most iconic sports edifice on its way back to the top pedestal. Do stay. You're welcome. Who will take sports? 48 years after the National Stadium